back to We Are the Batman. I'm Mike.
And this is Matthew.
Um, you know, it's a new team over at DC, and something we've commented on already is James Gunn's openness with information, which is something we're not used to getting from the Warner Brothers DC camp. We've commented on this show many times that they're all about playing stuff super close to the chest and letting the rumor mill just kind of do its thing. James Gunn's not about that. And that has been made very evident in over the course of this week, because a lot of things have been he's been very open about. We're gonna get to the big one that everyone wants to talk about a little bit. We're gonna cover some small ones here first. So the first of which was there was the rumors going around. We touched on these last week about Wonder Woman 3 being canceled, Patty Jenkins being out. What a lot of people might not know is that Patty Jenkins was originally slated to be the showrunner for a new Star Wars series coming to Disney Plus called Rogue Squadron. And
was
then
it a show or was it a movie? I thought it was a movie.
maybe it was a movie. I'm not super sure because
Either
it's like
way.
it's not even close to being made yet.
Yeah.
But she was attached to be in charge of that. And then I guess she left when they were going to, I think pretty much because of the pandemic, and she was like, well, I'm not going to sit here and wait. So she left. And then I guess she came back and left again. Anyway, the rumor was that the reason Wonder Woman 3 was getting canceled was because she left the project to go back and work on Rogue Squadron.
Okay.
Which Patty Jenkins, and again, this is not something we're used to from people in the DC camp, posted about it and basically said, no, that's not true. I don't know. We don't know. As of right now, there is no plan whatsoever for the next Wonder Woman movie. That's not saying that they're not going to make one. They just haven't made one yet. She's like, I don't know if they are or not. If they do, I don't know if it will involve me or not. Nothing has been set in stone. And she basically just laid out the timeline of like, here's what happened with Rogue Squadron. I was attached to do it. And then I said, hey guys, I'm still probably gonna do this Wonder Woman thing. I don't want to have to split my time. I'm gonna go focus on that. And they said, okay, if you want to come back, we'd love to have you. Because at that point they didn't know what they were doing with it. And then when stuff with Warner Brothers kind of came to a halt, Disney Lucasfilm was like, hey, since that thing you left us for is not really a thing right now, do you want to come back and work on this? And I guess the answer she gave him was yes. So she just came out. So yeah, Patty Jenkins was up front and just said, hey guys, like shut up. you don't know. You don't know. You're not here. You don't know the conversation. Stop pretending like you do. And James Gunn, backed her and said, like, yeah, like we don't have anything in writing yet. We're still figuring this out. Because he had commented, because we addressed it last week. He commented on those rumors that broke through the Hollywood Reporter. He's like, there are elements of this that are true. There are elements of this that are not. We still haven't finalized everything yet, but he did say that more information was coming. We're going to get to that in a little bit. But yeah, so just kind of get your thoughts on that first and foremost, Matt, just this Patty Jenkins thing.
I mean, I think this might be jumping ahead a little bit to the James Gunn thing, but I think you get somebody in like James Gunn who has, through his time as a filmmaker, been very active on social media, very open about things, and responds more often than not to some tweets that he doesn't need to. I mean, he doesn't respond to every tweet, but I've seen him answer stuff like, yeah, it's blue because I like blue, not red, like things like that.
Right.
And I'm 100% convinced this is all him. This is him saying, hey, we want to squash the stuff. You want to stop being bombarded on social media by stupid questions and stupid comments that you don't want to follow. You have to get ahead of it. As a company, we have to get ahead of it. And we're going to talk about even more of this kind of stuff. So I think he was just like, look, Patty, this is what you have to do. Because if you look at, and again, I'm getting a little ahead, but if you look at the way she did it, it's exactly the way he did it. It's exactly the same thing that Cavill did. It's not a tweet. It's not a post. It's a picture of a letter exactly saying everything they need to say. So yeah. I feel like what's happening is this is James Gunn going, hey, let's do this. Because I'm, again, kind of getting with the Cavill thing is like, I made the joke when you were like, hey, he's back. And I was like, I didn't know he was actually officially gone.
Right.
Like the hints are there, but no one ever came out and said he's gone, you
Yeah.
know? So I think now with James Gunn, part of what he's going to start doing is having people like, hey, we have to squash rumors. I mean, he's not going to address every single rumor out there, but it's already becoming apparent that he's not going to just let crap go out in the wind about Warner Brothers. And, you've said it before is like, you know, they don't ever respond to anything. And I think part of the reason they don't is because they don't even have a plan.
Yeah.
Now that we have a plan, you can definitively say this person's here, this person's not.
Yeah.
So I think it's very obvious from this. She's not. I'm quote unquote glad that she's going to be over at Star Wars because, they need some new blood and people who seem to be able to make a movie.
Yeah.
We'll see, we'll see. But I think it's a positive thing. You have to address, you have to think, and again, like I said, I think James Gunn now one of his primary things he's putting towards everybody is like put it out there. Now we just need to get James Gunn to get the Rock under control.
Yeah. That's a very good point. It's guys, they've never commented on anything before because they didn't have a plan, because they didn't know. What are you guys doing with this? They actually don't have any idea. Now, between setting up a plan and also just having someone that's I think a lot of people in Hollywood are afraid of social media. And that's why they never say anything, particularly over Warner Brothers. And you've got a guy like
Yeah,
James Gunn who made his bones on Twitter and is like, no, like, grow a pair, guys. We're not hiding anymore. We're gonna be upfront about stuff so that all this other crap stops, because
yeah,
it distracts from the truth. It distracts from what's actually going on. What was one of the things that distracted from Black Adam? No one could shut up about Superman. No one could shut
yeah,
up about it. That's all anybody wanted to talk about. Nobody wanted to talk, whether or not you like the movie. Nobody wanted to talk about Black Adam. They wanted to talk about Superman and Black Adam. It distracted from the conversation that they want people to be having. So, like you said, you get out in front of it and you stop it before it becomes something legit. Then you can have the conversation focus back on what's important. And I think
yeah,
that goes to the next story I wanted to talk about, which is, so there had been the rumor circulating for a while, that they were going to try to that they were kind of like what you were suggesting, reset the DCU and have Matt Reeves, the Batman, be a part of this larger new universe they were sculpting. And there was a tweet from Variety, which said, and I'm trying to find where Variety said, a well-placed source tells Variety that James Gunn and Peter Safran are exploring the possibility of incorporating Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson's Batman into their wider DC universe. To which James Gunn retweeted and said, there are few reporters I love more than Adam B. Very, which is the person who wrote the article. He said, truly a good guy. But in this case, he needs to get a news source, as this is entirely untrue. So, so in one sentence, not only James Gunn showed support for journalism, um, gave us the idea of forthcoming and honesty we're going to have with the DCU, and also threw some serious shade at Variety and this reporter, all in one sentence. But again, that goes to a couple things. One, I like hearing that this Batman is going to just kind of be its own self-contained thing, because I think that's how this is going to work best. But also, yes, hey guys, stop running with every quote unquote nameless source you have that tells you all this wild. Because here's the thing, odds are, if they want to remain anonymous, it's probably not true.
yeah.
So, again, that's great. That's more just honesty and forthcoming news from James Gunn saying, hey guys, the Batman is just going to be the Batman. That's it. It's not part of our bigger plan. We're going to let it keep going, but it's not part of the DCU. Move on.
Well, and that's where, look, man, I always hate doing this, but it's true. Like, Marvel made its bread and butter, has become what it is without the X-Men, without Spider-Man, without their
Yeah.
big characters. I dare say Daredevil was a big character. He was known, but I mean, they took these characters that, unless you're a comic book reader, most people didn't really know. I argue Captain America, but
Yeah.
for the most part, it was just these unknown guys. So that being said, you don't need Batman. You don't.
Yeah.
Like,
You'd like
look,
him.
well, you like it, but look, Aquaman made $1 billion.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman was the solo film was a big success. Let's not forget, if Man of Steel, the first one, had not been a success, we wouldn't have gotten the films after that.
Yeah.
So they can make these movies. They can do a DCFU, a DC universe, without Batman being in it. I really solidly believe that. I don't like that idea of I love seeing Batman be a dick to everybody else in the Justice League, but it's got to be, I have two Batmen. So what? That's fine.
Yeah.
You could have two Batmen. But yeah, I think that's the thing, is like leave the Matt Reeves stuff. It's similar to the Nolan stuff. It's definitely in a world where there's not superpowers and that kind of stuff. Let it tell its stories, because having Superman in a story like what the Batman presented going forward is just going to look really weird.
Yeah. And not only that, it just to your point, yeah, you can have two guys playing Batman. Hey guys, guess what? The average human being isn't that stupid. We
Yeah.
get it. You just said we mean look how many Jokers we've had.
Yeah.
It's not hard. All you got to say is, hey, this Batman, nothing to do with this story. And we'll be fine with that. We can follow along with that. You can use, to your point, like, yeah, I understand. I want a Batman, this big part of this Justice League universe thing. I really want that. Can you go without it? Sure. It's not a particular world I want to live in, but there's a lot of characters you can work with. And you can almost treat Batman kind of like how Marvel has treated the Hulk. Like, yeah, he's there and he's doing his thing, but we're letting other people have time to shine, because we've had a lot of Batman movies, and I want to keep having a lot of Batman movies. We've had a lot of Batman movies. There's a lot of DC characters out there I'd like to see. So have Batman be there, have it be, get a good actor and have it, but treat it kind of like the Incredible Hulk with Marvel, where he's there and he's an important part, but he's not the lead. Let other characters have their time in the spotlight, and then we can and then if you want that Batman goodness, then you go spend some time with Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson. It's easy, folks. It's not hard. It's called compartmentalizing. It's a great skill to have.
Yeah. Look at how many movies Black Widow was in before she got her own thing. Like
Oh
15.
God. And I like that movie a lot, but it was about 5 years too late.
Yeah.
But I liked it, but it was too late. Yeah, I mean, Hawkeye, it took forever for us to get Hawkeye to get his own series, and he got his own series. It was a cool series, but it is what it is. I mean, some of my favorite Hulk stuff was in Thor Ragnarok. You can do that with Batman. He can just kind of be around. It's fine. Honestly, Batman's kind of your fix for a lot of things. Like, who how are we going to deal with this? I have Batman deal with it. It's fine. That's why they had to remove the Hulk for Civil War, because like, okay, which team has the Hulk on it? Okay, that team wins. It's
Yeah, exactly.
so,
Exactly.
but ultimately what this goes down to is we get the confirmation that the Batman with Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson is going to continue on. It's going to be its own thing. It just won't be a part of the wider DC universe, and that's fine. And I think that's pretty much going to take us into what our main big story is, and something I think we need to get used to, Matt, now that I'm thinking about this live on the air. We're going to need to get used to doing some news of the week, because up until now, we've never really had much, because Warner Brothers was so tight-lipped about everything. James Gunn's running the show now. So I think we need to start just preparing ourselves for the fact, like, probably going to have some updated news more often than not, kids.
So the big news this week, what did he say? We've got a couple of big ones, but go, drop them.
He let out some stuff. He put out a three-part tweet thread, which I'm going to read for you guys now, and you can go read it over on his Twitter as well. He said, Peter and I have a DC slate ready to go, which we couldn't be more over the moon about. We'll be able to share some exciting information about our first projects at the beginning of the new year, which is not far away. Among those on the slate is Superman. In the initial stages, our story will be focusing on an earlier part of Superman's life, so the character will not be played by Henry Cavill, but we just had a great meeting with Henry, and we're big fans, and we talked about a number of exciting possibilities to work together in the future. So there is a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of information here. And let's just kind of go through it. I'm just going to go through it in order. So starting off with the big, I mean, they said they've got a slate ready to go. So odds. So it sounds to me like for the last month or so that they've been running shit. They've been sitting down, kind of like what you and I do sometimes, and just brainstorming and just seeing what you've got and seeing what you want to play with and working on probably a first draft of the story they want to tell. And I think that gives me a lot of confidence because um, that lets me know that like what they've been saying is yes, we've been sitting down, we've been working on this, we have a plan. It's just saying that we have a DC slate ready to go means they have at least some semblance of a plan.
Yeah. Definitely.
And then they say we'll be able to share some exciting information about our first project at the beginning of the new year. That is in 3 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. Woohoo.
Yeah. So, and my birthday's on January 4th, James. So if you want to wish me a happy birthday, that'd be a great way to do it by dropping your DC slate. So like what are you thinking about this, Matt?
I mean, it's kind of weird. I'm on the fence about it because he says their Superman movie does not involve Henry Cavill.
Well,
But
before we get to that, let's just talk about them having the slate ready for the beginning of the
okay,
year. Like
okay,
let's focus
okay,
on that first.
okay. So with the slate, I think it's look, the fact that they have a plan and that we believe James Gunn and that he's coming out and saying it, I feel like we can rest assured it's actually a plan and not somebody just saying it's a plan. Um, it is evident with other news going on that that plan probably is going to put the Snyderverse completely and totally to bed, which I am very, very happy about. Um, but I also feel like it'll be interesting to see. It's definitely seems like it's going to be a reboot, a clean slate, but it's also it's a plan. It's a plan I believe in. That's
Yeah.
nice. Like I don't know how else to say. I like that there's a plan.
And I'm kind of in the same boat. I, I, it's a lot of emotions to juggle right now. So I'll talk about when we get to the rest of it. So so the next tweet is among those on the slate is Superman. In the initial stages, our story will be focusing on an earlier part of Superman's life. So the character will not be played by Henry Cavill. Now, before I talk on that, somebody actually he answered a question about that, where someone
Yes.
said, please tell me this isn't another origin movie, to which he said, no way. And he did confirm with somebody else that it is a movie. So it is going to be a movie, not like a series or something. And they said it's not going to be an origin movie. So it's not going to be like Man of Steel or like the first Super movie with Christopher Reeves. So it's sounding to me like we're just getting a young Superman movie.
Yes.
Um, and it's not going to be played by Henry Cavill. So I have two emotions on this. I have several emotions on this, but the one is just a general bummer. Like I am bummed out that like this is it for Henry Cavill as Superman. Like we're done. Um, that genuinely bums me out because I am as somebody who's not a particularly big Superman fan. I am such a huge fan of Henry Cavill as Superman. I think Man of Steel is a masterpiece. I think I think Henry Cavill as Superman is like up there with Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man casting. Um, this bums me out. That's one emotion. The other emotion is kind of like to what we've been alluding to, particularly you've been alluding to, is you come into this situation, you look at the DCU as it is, and you think to yourself, okay, what's the smarter decision? Do we try to fix what we have, Or do we just say, screw it, let's just start over? Let's just
Yeah.
start over. And it sounds to me like the James Gunn sat down with Peter Safran and said, look, Warner Brothers financially is struggling right now. Do we spend a ton of money on a bunch of prospective projects with unsure footing that we don't know how people are going to respond to them because there's already a lot of Black Adam as of this week has barely turned a profit. It's turned a profit of like $20 million. What do we try and salvage this and just keep patching up the hull, or do we just say, you know what, let's just start over. We'll do maybe we do some smaller scale movies. We know Blue Beetle is coming out in 2023 as a film. Is that going to be our first window into things? We know that Shazam is still supposed to come out. Aquaman 2 is still supposed to come out. As far as we know, The Flash is actually got moved up to an earlier release date last week. It's now coming out in earlier in the summer. So I'm curious to see what this plan is going to be and how it's going to work, but it does start to sound more like they just said, guys, it's probably going to be easier and smarter if we just, in some way, shape, or form, start over. And that's what the earlier part of Superman's life, no Henry Cavill thing sounds like to me.
Yeah, it does. Or it's just like, look, you can also do the Fox X-Men thing where nothing has any sense of continuity and we don't seem to care.
Yeah. Well,
um,
I don't know about the people don't care thing. I care quite a bit.
uh,
Deadpool even comments on it, like McAvoy or Stewart. This is so confusing.
yeah. So I think what you can going to a younger Superman. I think what they're going to do is reset that character 100%.
Okay.
Um, I didn't mind Man of Steel, but my big thing was I missed Clark Kent.
Okay.
Like I really missed the Clark Kent thing. And having him be like the last frame of a movie, and then the next movie we get, we don't even really get Clark Kent. We just get, broody Superman with glasses on. I if that is, and that's my opinion, I think what part of what he's doing is bringing that aspect back to that character, which makes the character so much more interesting. um but it is sad to see Cavill go. Are we going to the Cavill thing, or do we just want to talk about the
I
reboot?
mean, we're in it with this tweet.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I'm similar to you. I really like Cavill. I like him a lot. There's a ton of movies he's been in that I feel like he's the only guy there doing the job. um I really wish he could have played Superman. I really feel like they robbed the crap out of him with Batman versus Superman, and then killing him at the end of that, and then like he's barely in Justice League. Like I just he deserved more, but I don't. They didn't know what they were doing, and I don't know if he was just done doing it. He did seem like he was excited to be back. I don't know what that whole situation was. How he thought he was back and then they said no, you're not back. It does lean into the reboot thing, but yeah, I mean, it's from what I'm seeing across the board, I think Marvel is the only ones playing real time, so that
yeah,
the character ages, they get to a certain point and they're done, they retire. They're not recasting to continue a storyline. And I think that's what DC is doing, is they're going to bring it, like they said, even though I don't think Cavill looks all that old.
he's really not. He's really not that old. I mean, like he's a
Yeah,
young dude.
he's still in his 30s. So I think that's what it is. I think they're going to try and glean that character back. I think, I think Aquaman is it if that movie ever even comes out. I'll be
We
really
still haven't seen a trailer. We still haven't
yeah.
seen a trailer for Aquaman 2.
Well, when does Aquaman 2 come out?
It's supposed to come out this in 2023. We still haven't seen a trailer for it.
Yeah, between Aquaman, I would not be surprised in any way, shape, or form if come January, Aquaman and Flashpoint get the Batgirl treatment.
Yeah,
I,
that's kind of.
I'm
I don't like to invoke the name Batgirl right now because of the emotions it stirs, but yeah.
dude. Go listen to our previous episodes, man. I've
Hey,
been saying,
Hey James Gunn, hey James Gunn. We pitched a phase one for the DCU. If you want to take some some notes from us.
yeah. But I mean, I think that's the thing is it's unfortunate. There's a lot of casting I really did like. But ultimately, the thing we really need to keep in mind is that if they reboot the DC universe, that leans more into the possibility we get Chris Pine as Lex Luthor.
Anyway. So the last tweet that James Gunn sends, I'm just moving on, was, we had a great meeting with Henry and we're big fans and we talked about the number of exciting possibilities to work together in the future. And I think that kind of goes to something you mentioned when, you said you bring up the Black Adam part of it. It sounds to me like Henry coming back and the Black Adam thing. Oh God, that's my phone. Sorry. Yes, that's the Batman theme. I'm not editing that out. That's fine. That's too
It's
funny.
perfect.
Um, it sounds to me the feeling I get, and this is purely a feeling. I have no basis of this whatsoever. In fact, and unlike most music journalism, movie journalism, I'm willing to admit that. I the feeling I get is that was kind of the last hurrah of the old regime pre James Gunn. Like that
Yes.
was some Hail Mary move made before James Gunn had any say in anything. And I think that odds are if I'm James Gunn and I know I'm getting ready to take over and then I see that come out, my first thought is James Gunn is God damn it. Cause he's probably like, well, now what do I do? Because I kind of wanted to start stuff over. So now I got to deal with, well, now they've made this big announcement that he's back and I'm about to break some hearts. Because right now, as we're recording this, the two things trending on Twitter right now are fire James Gunn and boycott Warner Brothers. Which I say, hey people, grow up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, grow up, get over it. It's no, like that's not gonna your hashtag's not gonna no, sorry. Um, so I like the idea. Here's the thing, I appreciate the fact that James and Peter at least had a conversation with Henry, had a meeting with him, and said, hey, look, we're sorry. We know that this promise was made to you prior to us coming on board. That's not the way we want to move forward. We still want to work with you. We're big fans of you. Because I'm sorry, if you're not a big fan of Henry Cavill, I don't know. I don't know what you're doing with your life. I mean, that guy is such a great talent and by all accounts, such a wonderful human being. Um, so for them to say, look, we still want to work with you in some way, shape, or form in the future. We want to do something different with Superman. And for Henry to speak out, and we're going to get to Henry Cavill's statement here in a second, because he did make one. Henry Cavill's statement very much read to me as someone who was not happy, but was also not bitter. Like he was like, I'm bummed. I was hoping I'd get to keep going. I understand they have their own job to do. It's just it was a complete clash of regimes thing. Um, where are you with that part of it, Matt?
I don't care. No, I'm just kidding. No, I again, here's what I'll say. This poor man.
I
this
know. Oh my god.
I the fact that they had a conversation with him, they talk about working with him down the line, or that they like him, lends me to believe that either one, there's a small possibility he's not done as Superman, but he ain't going to be back anytime soon.
Yeah. Like if he comes back, it's going to be later. It's not in the immediate plan.
Yeah,
Like
because
the next movie is not going to be Man of Steel 2.
yeah, and I think what you have is like DC has so many weird stories with multiple versions of the same characters. Marvel's doing that now.
Yeah.
Like, do we in 3 years get a Kingdom Come movie? And Cavill is that Superman. And I think that's where, look, George Lucas had told Mark Hamill, 4 decades ago, if we ever do the sequels, you're coming back as Luke,
Yeah.
so, and it actually happened. So it's possible they're in that mindset of, hey, we have a 3-year plan that ends with this thing. We will have you for that. But for
Yeah.
now, we're going to go and do this other direction. So I think that is completely plausible. And look, like, let's not forget something. He's an amazing actor. There's nothing that says they don't cast him as somebody else. It
Yeah.
would be weird this quickly, but it's possible that he'll play a different character. But I think that's what it is. Is they're priming this to be done.
Yeah.
When does Shazam come out?
I want to say in the spring. I don't have it in front of me right now.
Okay.
But
So
soon. I mean, it's not
yeah,
far away.
or it's possible like he'll be gunning a different character, or maybe
March 17th.
like what is, because what's the other, like maybe he'll be involved in Vertigo stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Who
Because
knows?
that, well, because look, Sandman's Netflix, but that's still DC.
It
You know,
is.
you,
It's
you
also like they intentionally wrote Sandman to be as disconnected from DC as possible. Like, I mean, there's like in the show, there's a kid watching the Justice League cartoon. Like,
yes. So I mean, but my point more is like, just because he doesn't come back as Superman doesn't mean he doesn't come back somewhere else or whatever, because we have no idea
yeah.
what this new planet James Gunn is. And
You know what? They keep talking about doing a Constantine series for HBO Max. Let him be Constantine. He's British.
yeah,
Actually,
no
now that I'm
doubt.
saying that out loud, I'd watch that.
I mean, but also like thinking about, you know, look, Peacemaker was fantastic.
hmm
And even though it is quote unquote Snyderverse, it's not.
Technically.
You
Yeah.
know, you could continue that show and never have him reference anybody else, and it doesn't deter the show in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So I just,
Which is why it was so weird that Harcourt shows up in Black Adam. I'm sorry.
yes, yeah, that too. But no, I think this is a good thing. I feel bad for Cavill. I did want to see him be Superman, but like, yeah, I think this is just clearly they're cleaning that slate, bro. They really
Yeah.
are.
Well, and on that note, I'm trying to find it here, but finding a good one that I can actually read is tough here. But I want to read Henry Cavill's statement
Sure.
because I think it's a wonderful statement. So he said, um, and it sounds to me like this happened in real time because of the way Henry Cavill uh, starts them, which is I have just had a meeting with James Gunn and Peter Safran, and it's sad news, everyone. I will, after all, not be returning as Superman. After being told by the studio to announce my return back in October, prior to their hire, this news isn't the easiest, but that's life. So that kind of goes to what I was bringing up earlier, which is like, yeah, this was a decision made before James Gunn came on,
Correct.
and James Gunn came on and said, yeah, so um the changing of the guard is something that happens. I respect that. James and Peter have a universe to build. I wish them and all involved with the new universe the best of luck and the happiest of fortunes. For those who have been by my side through the years, we can mourn for a bit, but then we must remember Superman is still around. Everything he stands for still exists, and the examples he sets for us are still there. My turn to wear the cape has passed, but what Superman stands for never will. It's been a fun ride with you all, onwards and upwards. I love that statement. It's it's
It's
earnest,
hmm
it's emotional, um, and it's also informative.
yeah,
Like I said, it confirms what I said earlier, which is like it sounds to me like this was a thing from the studio prior to James Gunn taking over. They came and odds are he was sitting at home and scrolling through Twitter while drinking coffee in the morning and just went, "Oh shit. Oh God. Well, I'm gonna have to deal with this. I'm gonna have to
mm,
deal with this on my first day of work."
yeah,
Um,
mm,
it's it's, and again, it sounds to me like this happened in real time, like that language. I have just had a meeting with James Gunn and Peter Safran, so it sounds to me like this was just decided yesterday. Um,
Yeah.
and rather than wait for the rumors to catch fire and spread, they said let's just go ahead and announce it now, and not even give the fucking fish wrap a chance to run with this. Like let's like you said, let's just get out in front of it and be done with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is, yeah, you got to change the regime. Things kind of can tend to happen, and I think it is. He's a classy dude, obviously. He didn't come out swinging, even when they were going through this, several years ago, and it was obvious he wasn't still Superman. He never came out and badmouthed anybody,
Yeah.
But I think this poor dude has just been shoved all over the place, and
Yeah.
like now, I'm gonna be really a dick here for a second, and I wonder if they
You
gave him
never.
10 million
Oh,
to
who
act like
knows?
he was okay with all this. Because my thing is, I don't know, but did he give up Witcher thinking he was going to be Superman?
I was just about to say, how soon do you think it is before they announce that he's back in The Witcher and Liam Hemsworth's out?
I mean, I don't
Because
know.
The Witcher season 3 is done shooting. It just hasn't been released yet. Liam Hemsworth wasn't going to take over till season 4, which is
Correct.
not even close to being in production. Like not even close. So is it early enough they can say, hey, Liam? Yeah, never mind. It's fine. Because everybody, because you gotta remember, the internet lost its shit when
Yeah.
Henry Cavill said he was done as The Witcher. Liam Hemsworth was taking over. People were like, "No!" I haven't seen The Witcher, but I've heard it's incredible.
Eh,
So like, does he come back to The Witcher and have people go, "No, we want him as Superman, but it's an okay consolation prize if we get him back as Geralt." So
yeah.
I don't know. It's a lot of what ifs right now.
Yeah. Well, and it's look. I will say this: now that it is 100% he's out, you know who's scooping him.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know, you
I don't. Here's the thing.
know.
I don't know if he takes it. I don't know if he goes to Marvel.
I'm not saying he does per se, but
But
bro,
there,
like,
but Kevin Feige is writing a text right now.
oh,
He's
not right now. Yesterday.
yeah, like they're trying to get a meeting. I don't know if I'm Henry Cavill personally. I'm like, it's kind of like when you go through a nasty breakup. It's like I need a minute, guys.
Is it
So
though, or is it? Maybe I'll have this one night stand and be a villain for you guys. No.
yeah, I mean, look, Christian Bale did it, and it was great. And so yeah, I mean, have him go be. Oh God, I don't know.
Oh, everybody's like he's either going to be Hyperion or Captain Britain. Hyperion, I was like, it's too much Superman. Captain Britain's too on the nose. But I made
I'd
the
be into
comment
it
right
though.
before we started. I was like, make him Cyclops.
Well, and people have talked about him being Wolverine too. Like that's come up, but
He's
I'm
too.
good. It's going to be a
Yeah,
couple years till it's going to be a couple years till we can have a new Wolverine anyway, and we know we're getting Hugh Jackman back for Deadpool 3. So,
yeah.
but
There's plenty of characters out there he can be.
yeah.
That I but again, like, yeah, I'm sure he's already had a phone call. I'm sure he's already had a conversation because you don't let a talent like that go listless. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's kind of my point though. Is I almost want to see him do some other stuff though. Like I want to see him in other projects because like right now he's been Superman. He was in Mission Impossible. He was in Man from Uncle, and he's been. People forget he's Sherlock Holmes on Netflix in that Enola Holmes series of Millie Bobby Brown, which I haven't watched,
And
or
he's
a movie in
amazing.
that series. I've heard he's great. Yeah, I haven't watched it personally. But it's like I kind of want to see him do some other stuff for a bit. Let me see this guy like just throw down some acting stuff, do some stuff that's really off the wall. Like, yeah, I'm down with him being in the MCU, but I kind of just want to see him do some other stuff too, because I want this guy to get the chance that he just never really got to flex.
Yeah.
Not
No,
that he doesn't
I
flex a whole bunch on Instagram, but
yeah, I made a joke a couple of years ago. I was like, dude, let it be John Sable freelance. He would be great as that
yeah,
comic book character. I don't know if you know who that is.
not a clue.
But if you type in John Sable freelance and look at the first picture, you're like, oh, look, it's Henry Cavill.
I'm doing it right now.
Jon Sable freelance.
Doing it right now. Oh yeah, that's Henry Cavill. No, that is 100% Henry Cavill. That's Henry Cavill. Oh my god. Oh, that's funny. Um, but yeah, so does this bum me out? Yeah, it bums me out incessantly. But I also am as just a general film snob, like I'm here for good storytelling. So if James Gunn is saying, "Hey, we've got a new plan and we're going to tell a good story," I'm here for that too. Like I just want to see a good movie. Do I want
Yeah,
Henry Cavill to be Superman? Yeah, but do I also just want to see a good movie? Absolutely. I still want to see Ben Affleck as Batman, but I never don't want to. I never want to live in a world that doesn't have Robert Pattinson as Batman now. Like he's so good. So, and also at the end of the day, the question has to be asked: do I trust James Gunn? I trust James Gunn implicitly. I trust him so much. This guy made me give a shit about the Guardians of the Galaxy. This
yeah,
guy took Suicide Squad and said, "I got it from here," and crushed it, and then brought us Peacemaker. Like the work James Gunn has done. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 guts me emotionally. I can't finish the movie because I start crying. He hit me emotionally with that movie in a way that I can't even put into words. So I trust James Gunn, and I don't trust James Gunn. I trust James Gunn. I don't think he would make any kind of decision like this unless he was 100% sure it was the best decision to make. And
yeah,
so that cushions the blow. Like it sucks. And if it was anybody else, I'd probably be a little bit more pissed off. But if James Gunn's the one saying like this is the decision we need to make to further the story we want to tell, I'm going to trust him. I'm going to trust him while also giving him the side eye, but I'm going to trust him.
yeah. And this is where, like, what is that stupid saying? You got to break a couple eggs to make an omelet.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
it does suck that he's gone.
Yeah.
I personally, given the comments that what's his name said, James Gunn, about like we talked about working with him again or something like that, it
Yeah.
does let me think like either they've got a story where they're going to need a different Superman down the line, or he's going to be somebody else. And
Well, and the
either way, I'm
language,
good with it.
yeah, the language of his tweets is the thing that has me scratching my head a little bit, where he just says, in the initial stages, our story will be focusing on an earlier part of Superman's life, so the character will not be played by Henry Cavill. So I'm curious to see what that actually means, because that could mean a lot of different things.
Yeah,
And kind of like you alluded to earlier, could this mean we see him as Superman back again a long time from now? I think that's very much a possibility from what I'm reading. Could also just mean exactly what it says, which is just we're just done. Um, but either way, I guess just kind of keep hammering in the point. I trust James Gunn with this, so I'm giving him my blessing, but it's not with some shade being thrown. It's like I'm going to give you my blessing, but I'm going to sip some tea while I'm giving you that blessing.
yeah.
So,
Well,
couple of the questions that he did address on Twitter, we
oh yes,
addressed a couple
yes.
of them already, which is fine. The other two that I wanted to bring up was somebody asked, "Is he writing and directing this Superman project?" To which James Gunn said, "I am writing and have been for a while. We don't know who is directing yet."
Okay.
Um, to which then someone asked in reply to that, another person asked, "Could Ben Affleck direct?" Because people have been kind of clamoring for Ben Affleck to direct a DC movie, particularly that Batman movie that never got made. To which James Gunn replied, and this was very welcome news to hear. He said, "We met with Ben yesterday precisely because he wants to direct, and we want him to direct. We just have to find the right project." So it sounds to me like they really are saying, like, we have goodwill with some very talented people. And even if we're not going to bring them back for the things that we know them for, we still want to bring them back. So maybe Ben Affleck doesn't come back as Batman again, which would bum me out. But if you're going to bring Ben Affleck in to direct something DC, I'm in.
Oh yes, definitely. The films of his I've watched that he directed are amazing. I mean, give me a Task Force X movie like The Town.
Shit, give me a Task Force X movie like Argo.
Yeah.
Like holy shit. Like yeah, and also we know how much Ben Affleck loves Batman. Give me even if he's not playing Batman, if he's not playing him, give me a Batman movie directed by Ben Affleck. I'd watch the shit out of that.
Oh man, or even go different, man. Give him a Green Arrow movie. Like
Yeah.
get him away from Batman. Let him do something different. Let him pull something out of obscurity, like the book Gone Baby Gone, and make a
Yeah.
fantastic movie out of it. Heck, have him do the Question. Let his brother be the Question. I don't give a crap.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, Casey Affleck sucks, but he's he's not a nice person. But but yeah, like again, it sounds like they've got a plan now. They've been there for about a month and a half. They've got a plan now, and they're going to start making moves. And like we said at the top of this episode, which I know is going on kind of long, but it's a lot to dissect here. We are going to start getting a lot more of this, where we're going to have a lot more information in our hands now, because James Gunn's doesn't want the rumor mill to be in control of things. He doesn't want the subtweeters and Reddit and quote unquote nameless sources to be the ones driving the conversation. He wants to drive the conversation because that's how important this is, and that's how seriously he's taking this job.
Yeah.
So that gives me a lot just more faith in James Gunn as a filmmaker and as a producer and as a creator, but it also just gives me more faith in the DCU, because now it's like, now there is genuine leadership. It's not just some random film exec who just got the job. It's a guy who's played in this sandbox, who understands how this business works and can bring something truly creative and different to the table, who's going to approach this like it's a life or death situation, like it matters, like what he's doing matters. It's not just, it's just movies. He gives a shit. And it's nice to have somebody in the chair that gives a shit when it comes to DC.
That is correct.
So, man, good Lord, we unpacked a lot. We unpacked quite a bit with this, and I'm sure this is not the last we're going to hear about it. And we'll be here as readily as we can, considering we're a week and a half from Christmas. But oh my God. But at this point now, I'm just looking to the beginning of 2023, because that's when we're going to start getting a lot more information from James Gunn, and I'm going to be curious to see what's next. So we want to hear what you guys think. So please, you guys can always reach out to us and let us know what you think on this stuff. You can find the show on Twitter at We Are the Batman. If you go to our pinned tweet, we have a Google form there where you can send us your questions, your comments, your criticisms. You can suggest episode ideas, anything you want to say. Matt, where else can the folks get in touch with us?
You can find us on www.facebook.com/group/fanboy junction with the K. I'm always quick to respond. If you got questions, comments, things you want to talk about, just let us know, and we will take care of them.
And as always, you guys can find me on Twitter at Mr. Mike Shea.
And you can find me at Mr. J Ninja.
That's going to do it for us. We'll see you guys again next time here on We Are the Batman. Same bat time, same bat podcast channel.
Take care.